Hi guys, Tom here. So this is my TaoTao TBR7. It is a 5-year-old Chinese-made dual sport. It runs well, however I was curious, what's the condition of the internal components of the engine? Now to run a gasoline engine, you need fuel, you need spark, you need compression. We can check for spark, we can check for fuel pretty easily, but what is actually the compression in the engine? Normally I just stick my finger over the spark plug hole and see if it pops it off, but there's actually a reading we can take to see what the condition of the engine is and estimate whether or not the engine needs to be rebuilt or anything needs to be repaired inside. So today we're going to be doing a compression check. So how do we do a compression check? Well, with a compression check tool. This is basically a pressure gauge that traps pressure inside, relieved by this button, that attaches to the spark plug hole, and it measures the highest pressure that's obtained in the cylinder. What we're going to do is get the bike up to normal operating temperature. We're going to take the spark plug out, connect this adapter up, crank the engine, and see where the gauge lands. Okay, so let's get the motorcycle warmed up. So let's warm up the engine. The fuel valve is open, the key is on, the kill switch is in the run position, and here's the start switch. We're going to let this motorcycle run for a while to get up to a normal operating temperature. All right, so let's get to the compression test. Okay, with this motorcycle warmed up, let's get the spark plug out. Now I'm going to be pulling the spark plug boot off by the boot, not by the wire. Don't want to damage the spark plug wire. And we're going to remove the spark plug. Now using the spark plug and an adapter, we're going to match the threads up and see if they fit. Yep, they look like they lined up. So the adapter should fit in that hole. We'll get the adapter in. It only needs to be hand tight because the sealing surfaces are actually O-rings that get compressed. So we don't need to crank down too hard on the adapter. Now with the compression tool attached, we're going to open up the throttle, we're going to crank the engine with the kill switch off, and we'll see what the highest pressure is. The key is on, kill switch is off, throttle is wide open, start button. That is a good pressure. Anything above 100, I'm told, is good for the engine. Ideally, anything above 120 is perfect for the engine. Conveniently, we have some information about this engine and we can test what pressure we should be getting. Guys, I can't find a TBR7 service manual, so I'm doing some simple math here. I'm near sea level and a compression is 9.1 to 1, I found out. So using 14.7 times 9.1, it comes up with this minimum pressure. We're above that, so everything must be perfect. If this is wrong, please leave a comment below. I appreciate your help. In the meantime, let's get back to the bike. All right, so this pressure is great for this engine, so we have compression. What if it was the other way around? The needle was low and we had no compression. We can do a couple quick checks to try to figure out what's going on with this engine and see if we can make some repairs. The compression could have the gases leaving by different directions. One is to the valves. A valve lash could be poor. We could have some damaged or worn valves. We could have a head gasket problem where the gases are escaping through the sides. Or we have piston rings that are worn and the gases are escaping down the cylinder walls. We can use this tool to test the piston rings. We would measure what the compression is. We'll say hypothetically it was 90. If we pour some oil inside and we get better compression, meaning that the piston rings are now sealing better, then we know that the piston rings are worn. So let's show you how that test is done. We're going to release some pressure by pushing the button. Remove the adapter. We're going to pour a little oil into the cylinder. My favorite motorcycle oil. A little bit of oil into the cylinder. Not much, just enough for the test. Funnel comes out. Reconnect the compression testing tool. Once again, not crank down too much. The O-ring will keep the seal. Gauge is back to 0. And once again, the key is on. Kill switch is off. Throttle is wide open. Start button. It's about 200. Anticipated with a little bit of oil, the piston rings are going to seal a little bit better. So they're going to be more efficient. So in this example, the oil is working to show how well the piston rings work a little bit better. So they were working good before, now they're working well now. Now, if it was poor compression and it got better, we know the piston rings were worn. So let's get this bike ready to go riding. The adapter's out. I'm going to put the spark plug back in. I'm going to seat it by hand. And now, just give it a little bit of a crank, just to tighten it down. Reconnect the boot. So that's it. Compression test was good. Great news. I love it. This bike is going strong. If you have any feedback or questions, please leave them below. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching.